I had asked you about what type of brewery y'all are, and you had mentioned something about the amount of barrels that you produce.
Right. In the United States, according to the Brewers Association, if you make... to be a... Do you want me to just go through the whole thing?
If you don't mind.
To be a craft brewery in the United States, to be considered a craft brewery, you would need...
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. You have to be four things: small, independent, and traditional. Small, independent, traditional. Three things, not four. Small means that you make under 2 million barrels of beer in a year. So to be a craft brewery or a microbrewery, under 2 million barrels of beer in a year. Independent means that at least 75% of the company is owned by a single entity, or like a brewmaster, not a big mass corporation. So at least 75% has to be owned by one person. And then traditional means that you use traditional brewing methods, which that means that your flagship beer, your number one top-selling beer, has to be an all-malt recipe, which means malted barley or malted wheat, hops, water, and yeast. Just those four ingredients. It can't have any rice or corn, which Bud Miller Coors use. That thins out the recipe. It also can't have like fruit or chocolate or anything like that. So your top flagship beer has to be an all malt recipe. So we fall into that category. So a brewery that makes under 13,000 barrels of beer in a year and also follows that criteria would be a micro craft brewery. So we are now over 13,000 barrels of beer. So we are just a packaging craft brewery because we still follow those three criteria, but then we're also small.
But you don't make...
we don't make 2 million barrels.
Right.
We're 24,000. But we're too big to be a micro. So a microbrewery can be a craft brewery, but you can also just be a craft brewery, which is what we are.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what got you into this?
The way the company started, first of all, is Brock Wagner. I've only been with the company almost 3 years. Brock Wagner is the founder and owner. He's the guy that still owns the company today. He just over 15 years ago decided to start a craft brewery. He found out that Houston was the largest city in the country without a packaging craft brewery at the time. And he went to Rice University, so he was already in town. So he kind of looked around the country of where he wanted to start a brewery. And this is where he decided to do it because there was opportunity here. He already went to school here and worked in Houston. He was a investment banker for about 7 years after school and decided to get out of that. Hated his job. So he started raising capital to open St. Arnold. And June 9th, 1994 is when the first keg was shipped. A lot of people that work here are home brewers, especially most of the brewers started as home brewers and then, kind of learned how to brew in a commercial system through that. Donnie at least used to home brew.
Until I started working here.
Yeah. And now, you get beer here, so you don't really have to anymore.
Right,
but,
right.
Yeah, that's been the start for a lot of people that came to work here. The craft brewing industry about 1999 kind of hit a plateau, and then it started climbing right after that. So our business has been up around 20% every year for the last about 4. So we kind of make those jumps every year.
Steady. What are the origins of the recipe?
Well, sometimes our brewers test brew, like they can come up with something they want to brew. So they test brew it on a little like home brew system, essentially, and make test batches. And then Brock, the owner, and the brewers kind of get together, and we all taste it, and recipes come from that, so then they're fine-tuned. once we pick, hey, that's the one we want to make for a Divine, then the recipe gets fine-tuned and then eventually made into the commercial beer. Also, for some of the Divines, I think 3 of them, the winner of the Big Batch Brew Bash, which is a homebrew competition, where we will say, okay, everybody make a Weizenbach this time. So anybody can enter a homebrew competition. You make yours and then submit it, and then it's judged, and then the winner of that competition gets made into a Divine Reserve.
Oh, wow. So anybody can...
Anybody can enter it, yep.
Wow.
And it's run in conjunction with the KGB Homebrew Club. They're the ones that kind of sponsor it, help sponsor it. Let's see, Divine 7, Divine 8, 5.
It's not working again.
It's not? Email's not working again. I know those 3 were all homebrew recipes. So, yeah, it's just, it changes.
Yeah, and they're never repeated?
Right, they have never been repeated. I think, and this is maybe just a personal opinion, that the kind of the culture now, sort of like the Food Network kind of culture, travel network, people want to find better things to eat, better things to drink. They try to cook better food at home, go to better restaurants, and I don't mean necessarily spend more money, but just pay attention more to what they're eating. I think that helps.
Quality of what they're eating.
I think that helps the craft brewing industry because people are paying attention to what kind of beers they want to drink. They want to drink something that's good quality, maybe made locally. People are more in tune with trying to buy local products. Beer is a product best enjoyed fresh. We don't pasteurize our beer, so if you can buy it as close to the source as possible, then that's a good thing, we think.
Right.
I think, like you said, the growth in the wine industry. Now, beer has actually officially overtaken wine as the most popular alcoholic beverage in the country. That happened last year, I think.
Yeah, I know that before, wine was always paired with foods, and now the idea of pairing beer with foods is becoming much more prevalent than ever before.
Definitely.
So
we do a lot of beer dinners and beer and cheese pairing events. Those are big deals, and chefs are starting to pay attention to that more as well. Now we are still in the fine dining industry. We are nowhere near the respect that wine does.
Right.
At least in the Houston area.
Yeah.
Most fine dining restaurants, they may carry our beer, but they don't have a beer menu or a beer list. Beer list.
Right.
So, I don't know. It is growing, though. You see it more and more. And even some wine bars, traditional wine bars, are starting to carry more craft beer. People, people that go with other people to wine bars may want to drink good beer. So,
right.
I don't know. It's growing. It'll continue to grow, hopefully. The acceptance. The Miller Bud Coors beers have either been flat or slowly, tailing off, while craft beer has been growing.
Right. What would you say the demographic is of the customers?
It's actually getting younger.
Is it?
When we started out, it was older. Now, like the demographic on our tours is actually the highest percentage of people that come on our tours is like 21 to 30. That's the highest percentage. Which is gradually, every year gets younger and younger and younger. I guess eventually it's not going to be able to get much younger than 21.
Right.
Probably. But and I think that shows an acceptance of people generationally getting used to craft beer. They see their parents drinking craft beer, so when they decide to drink beer, they aren't as intimidated by craft beer immediately.
Right. Yeah, I know that a lot of the my friends that are a little bit older, they're like, you always drink that weird stuff. You know that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, that's the whiskey drinking friends that, you know, they don't really drink beer much, but they're like, you like that dark, you know, strong beer, and that's the misconception.
Isn't that funny to you though a little bit that they'll drink whiskey, but then they complain that like the beer is too strong, or
yeah.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I've never really understood that.
Yeah, it's very strange. You know?
And the biggest guys in the world, the toughest guys in the world, still say stuff like, "Oh, that's too heavy. I want something light."
Right. I'm like,
what the hell's wrong
why
with
it is that people drink like the smaller brewed beers as opposed to the mass-produced.
Hopefully, the first reason is taste. I mean,
Yeah.
To us, that's where it begins and ends.
Right.
Is the beer. I think we do a pretty good job marketing the beer and selling the beer. But if our beer was bad,
Mm-hmm.
I would hope that nobody would drink it, no matter
Right.
how we tried to match it. And that comes back a little bit to that authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
If we were having fun events and St. Patrick's Day parties and whatever, and the beer wasn't any good, then I don't think we would. Maybe we would have had a small following, but it wouldn't have grown to where it is now.
Right.
I think that because in the end, you still hope that people are going to go on a pub crawl or come on a tour and have fun there. But then in the end, you hope that they'll go and purchase the beer at the store because they like the beer.
Right.
Not necessarily because they had a great time at the St. Patrick's Day party.
Yeah,
or
it
the
goes
tour.
much deeper than the marketing. It goes to actually the taste.
The
itself.
actual product in the end.
Yeah.
Whereas the big beer companies, it's all about marketing. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Drink this and you'll have a better body, or you'll be sexier, or whatever. Funnier. Now all the beer commercials are funny now. You'll be funnier if you drink this beer.
Yeah.
We want people to drink it because it tastes good, and it's great that people come in our events and we want them to. But if there's somebody that doesn't want to do that and they just want to have a great beer at home, more power to them as well. We hope that we can fill that need too, just for a good tasting beer.
But y'all have like annual events?
Yeah, like the St. Patrick's Day party is an annual event.
Okay.
Oktoberfest. Mm-hmm. We do a big cook-off in the parking lot called the One Pot Showdown. That's an annual event. And then we also do pub crawls. We do maybe 5 pub crawls a year, like once a quarter, just over once a quarter. And then we sponsor community events as well. That's kind of my primary job, is to do community events. Charity events, art events, stuff at Discovery Green downtown. That's all part of it.